I'm Connie Moser. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Nights at the Round Table. My guest this evening is Nyasha Sprow. She's Miss Northern Virginia. Nyasha, thank you for coming tonight.
My pleasure.
Okay. I have your bio here, but if you don't mind, I'd rather hear you tell me. You can start you don't have to start at birth, but you can start
Okay.
anywhere you like.
Okay, well, I'm 15 years old. I won't be 16 for a couple more months. I've been doing pageants since I was 9. I started when my sister started as a way to build my platform for organ and tissue donation. My brother died from kidney disease 3 years ago. So that's another one of my platforms, is educating about keeping your kidneys healthy, keeping yourself healthy, as well as organ and tissue donation for those who fall back a little bit and aren't as healthy as everybody else and they end up needing a kidney. So I do my platforms so that I can educate as well as I do my pageants to use my platform to educate. So it all ties together and works together really well. I've been working with the National Kidney Foundation ever since I started pageants, as well as the Washington Regional Transplant Community.
So, did you just decide one day that's what you wanted to do, or?
My sister started pageants 4 years before I did.
Okay.
And I always wanted to do them, kept asking my mom, please, can I start? But she didn't want 2 girls in a pageant at the same time, because that's a lot of money and a lot of time, and you have to run back and forth through the pageants, and our schedules would conflict. So finally, the last year of my sister competing, she let me start, and it just took off from there.
It involves a lot of wardrobe changes too, right?
Yes, a lot of wardrobe changes, a lot of shopping before pageant time to get all of my dresses, my dresses for competition, my walk-around outfits, my shoes to walk around in, my shoes for competition, and all the hair accessories and makeup. It's a lot of work.
Does someone sponsor you for that, or does that all come from your family's pocket, or how do you finance that?
I can get sponsors. I usually have my family help me out, but my mom makes pageant suits for little girls, and that's where most of the income for pageants come, because it's pageant season. All the little girls need suits for their interviews, so that helps a lot.
That sounds like a symbiotic relationship.
Yes. They work very well together.
So your mom sews at home?
Yes.
And so I just want to know, do you live in a normal house? Because I'm thinking you maybe need a warehouse or something.
Well, she has her own sewing room, but it sometimes takes over the rest of the house with all her suits when they're coming in and out, because she gets multiple orders at a time, maybe like 10 a week, and it's like, I have to go and sew this. Wakes up before she goes to work and sews through the morning. Sometimes her sewing machine wakes me up. And then she goes to work, and she comes home. The first thing she does is start sewing again, all the way until she sleeps.
That's not her job.
No.
She has another job.
That's her side business.
So she has another job, and she has this business.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's the name again?
Suiting Your Queen.
And she takes care of the family,
yes,
of course. And so
she's a pageant mom.
Yeah. And I can't imagine how many hours that must involve in the day.
Oh, 24/7.
But everybody's involved, right? Your dad goes with you on trips?
My dad is the biggest pageant dad around. You wouldn't expect it from looking at him. He looks like this tough guy. When pageant time comes around, he'll be the first one to be like, oh, we have to go get a new dress for that. You can't wear that. You wore that last pageant. You have to get something new, Nyasha. We can't do this.
Would you explain the KEEP to me?
It's a process done by the National Kidney Foundation to screen people for early kidney disease. So we have a bunch of people coming in. We sit them through questionnaires, whether or not they have diabetes, family health issues, all of those type of things, and then we send them off into blood work and urinalysis. And then after those are processed, they meet with a doctor that we have in the facility at that time, and he explains to them if they're at high risk or what they need to do, what they need to talk to their doctor about, if they need to see a nutritionist, all things that can help them so that they don't get kidney disease.
Where do you do this?
All over. There's sometimes we do them at schools, sometimes at churches, just wherever we can find a spot where we can get a lot of people in to help.
That must be really rewarding.
It is.
Because I'm sure prevention is your goal.
Yes, definitely. When I do them around this area, I actually have family members that come in that I didn't even know were coming. And they come in, they're like, oh, hi, Nyasha. Like, hey, you coming to get your kidney screened? I didn't know you were coming.
Does this make for fairly normal life for you? I mean, I know you're not even 16 yet, so do you feel like you're living the life that, you're obviously not living the life that most teenagers are living, but it suits you?
It does. I kind of feel like I have a double life sometimes. I have my school life with my friends and then my pageant life and community service, but I love both of them equally. Sometimes I prefer the other one, and sometimes I prefer pageants and doing that, but at the same time, I love being with my friends. I love hanging out at school, but I love my community service, and I love educating people and doing my pageants at the same time.
So do you have normal friends, or are they?
Yeah, I have two separate groups of friends. I have my normal school friends, and then I have my pageant friends, where I met them through pageants, and that's how we connect with each other. So two separate groups. They don't exactly know each other, but it works out.
Is it okay to ask you, do you have a boyfriend?
I do not.
You don't have time?
No. Too busy.
Good for you. Well, did you want to talk about any of these other programs like LifeNet or?
I did a video for LifeNet on becoming an organ donor that was sent out to the high schools in Prince William County and around the country to educate teenagers why they should become organ donors when they get their license. So in the driver's ed classes, the video is shown, and it basically just tells my story about how my brother died from kidney disease, how my sister were donors, and other people who have received transplants as well as given transplants. Just to, because a lot of teenagers my age don't understand the process of donating. And if they do, they don't know the details. They're like, well, I don't really know why I should do that. So it helps a lot that they get to hear it from a first-person point of view on why they should become donors.
And what do you tell them? What do you tell them why should they become a donor?
I tell them they should become a donor because at that point where you would be donating, you don't need the organs that you have. But there's somebody else out there that does need them, and that can benefit incredibly from getting even just, not even your heart, you can give your corneas, you can give even skin transplants. It benefits so many people in so many different ways that it's like you're saving lives when you lose yours.
That's amazing. That's really amazing.
It is.
And so are you.
Thank you.
What else would you like to talk about? Because we have a few moments, and the floor is yours. Anything you would like to talk about, I'm willing to listen, because I just like you.
Okay, well, my sisters passed away over 20 years ago. And the fact from my mom, I never got to meet them. So I know them through my mom's stories and what she tells about them. And from the donation process, just made them as if they were living on after they died, because they saved and helped 12 people at least each with their donations. So they died at such young ages. They were 1 and 3. So my mom never got to say, you know, they looked beautiful at prom or they graduated, but she can say that they saved 12 lives. So it's kind of that balance out that, yes, there's grief because they passed, but they did something so amazing without even really having to do so much in their lives.
That's really touching. Your family has had a lot of trials and tribulations.
Yes.
I think it's really amazing to see how you all pull together and overcome everything that comes your way. You have a nephew?
Yes, I have 2 nephews,
Uh-huh.
and they are
Oh, you have
adorable.
2.
Santana and Santiago,
Uh-huh.
and they're the cutest little things ever. And they live with me now, and we help out a lot with them because my sister has multiple sclerosis, which affects her from being able to do certain things, and it affects her memory. So we help a lot with taking care of them, and when she has to go out and work, we help take care of them, and I love them.
Yeah.
I love kids, but I love them.
Tell me what your long-term plans are.
Well, I plan on going to college and becoming a criminal profiler for the FBI.
Oh.
That would be my dream, and it's what I'm working towards. So studying psychology and criminology. Hopefully, I want to get into University of Miami, but I do have other choices that I'm heading towards as well in case that doesn't work out. But ultimately, criminal profiler would be my dream job.
You will be good at that. You have a really good eye contact with people. I'm sure you have an innate ability to read people already. Pretty much tell that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're drilling me. So you're going to get your driver's license soon? Or?
Yes, in December.
Yeah.
I have my permit here. I actually drove here today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This is probably the best place in the world to learn to drive because
is.
any possible condition will happen here.
Definitely. Snow one day and rain the next, and then it'll be perfectly sunny and warm and 80 degrees outside.
I grew up in the Midwest, and we didn't have a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you find that a little bit inhibiting?
Yeah. I feel that I'm a amazing driver, if I say so myself. I think I'm a pretty good driver. I've only had my permit for about 4 weeks maybe, and my mom already lets me drive out on highways and everything. My sister was complaining because we have to start out driving in a parking lot to learn, and when I moved out of the parking lot, I'd only been driving for a week, and my sister was like, oh my gosh, I had to be in a parking lot for a month. I was like, sorry. Guess I just have a natural driving ability.
Well, now you sound your age.
Yes.
Really. Yeah. I'm glad because you're so grown up all the time. So it's good to see that you are teenage as well as a grown up. You're both really. You probably have old brain in a young body. I'm pretty sure that's the way you're working.
Sounds about right.
Is there something else you'd like to talk about?
Well, my sister has multiple sclerosis, which is another thing that I'm beginning to work into my platforms. She was diagnosed 3 years ago after her first son was born, and we knew nothing about it. Of course, we knew about kidney disease and all of that from my brother, but multiple sclerosis was something new. And it's a disease that affects your body, and it can cause problems with your brain, and it can leave you paralyzed, and there's all these end conditions that it can happen, but you can live a perfectly normal life, but it's just the shock of it happening and knowing what it can end up to was hard at first. But we've worked through it, and it's been hard, but we've definitely been there for my sister no matter what, and helping her with her kids and everything. And multiple sclerosis it's a difficult disease to be presented with, but you can definitely live a normal life.
I really don't know very much about it. Is it something that you're born with?
No, it's a neurological disease that you can develop. They don't really know what makes it happen, what brings it on, but for my sister, it happened after she had her first son. And they don't know if it was directly tied to that or if it was for another reason or if she had it before she was pregnant and just didn't know. So there's no real way that they know what started it. But you're not born with it. It just comes along somehow.
So does she have periods that are worse than others?
She does. She takes shots once a week that keeps it under control so she doesn't have a relapse. And the first time that she had a relapse when she was diagnosed, her body went numb. Half of it went numb at one day, and the next day the rest went completely numb.
Oh, how scary.
So that multiple things can happen with a relapse, and it causes lesions on your brain and your spinal cord. So the shots help prevent that from happening is the end result that they're working towards. She started out on one set of shots and it didn't work out too well, so she's had to change to another one. And she has her good days and her bad days. Sometimes it's harder and she feels weak and her memory is very bad. But other days, it's like she never had it.
Is it physically incapacitating?
It is. It can be. And the big effect for my sister is memory. It affects your memory a lot. It depends on where the lesions happen in the brain, and hers happen to be around the area that affects her memory. So we do have to remind her things, write notes, put notes around the house, remember to do this, but we can work around it.
But she really couldn't live on her own with her children, right?
Sometimes she's stronger than others and she can do it, but she's going to need somebody there to help her. And she has her husband, and he's very good at helping her with what she needs, and it's just like why he's at work, and she's pregnant again, so she'll have 3 kids.
Oh, really?
Yes. So 3 kids, 1, 3, 1, and then she has 1 on the way. So they're pretty close, and they'll all be in the terrible 2s and 3 ages. So it can be a little difficult, but we'll definitely always be there to help her.
I'm sure in your house there couldn't be any place better.
Yeah.
It's just a little more excitement.
Yeah, pretty much. Like Santiago is a screamer. He likes to scream a lot.
He's the oldest?
He's the youngest.
He's the
He's
youngest.
one.
Oh, uh-huh.
But he has the personality that just, and he's so small. That's the crazy part, is he's so tiny. You think, oh, he's so adorable, and then he just starts screaming out of nowhere. And he's so friendly. Like, he's not one of the stranger danger type babies. Hey, I'm gonna be your best friend now. And Santana's the more shy one. He's the more, if I don't know you, don't touch me, don't look at me. I'll say hi, but that's it.
Do they travel with you sometimes?
Sometimes they do. Like my pageant in July is in Virginia Beach, and they may be coming down to see that. So the close distance ones, they'll drive down and come watch. But things such when I go to California and stuff, they will stay home, but they watch my pageant online. Because most of my pageants view it online on their website, so they can cheer me on from home.
Nyasha, how many pageants have you been in?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've been competing since I was 9. I'm 15, so 6 years. 1, 2, probably at least 10, I want to say. I do at least one a year, but then a couple years I've done more. So I'm saying around at least 10 or
And
more
how long will you continue to do this?
until I win Miss Universe.
Okay. Well, that should be like next year, right?
I start competing in Miss Teen USA next year. And then after Teen USA, I go on Miss USA, and if I win that, then I go to Miss Universe. So.
Well, I feel confident you're halfway there. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank
it was a
you for
real
having
pleasure
me.
having you. And thank you to our viewers for joining us tonight at Knights of the Round Table, and we'll see you again next time.